Hello and welcome or welcome back to Julia Pico Designs. I am Jules, the owner, designer, maker, everything else of Julia Pico Designs. And I am here with my May and June sort of wrap up diary thing. I know I've kind of been like pretty inconsistent with these. I think I've decided that I'm going to do a monthly video diary where I go through all of my finished objects, all of my whips, all of my stash acquisitions, and everything like that, as kind of like podcast episodes, I guess. And then I'm also working on a lot of other fun videos for this channel. I have a lot of like project vlogs. I have a lot more tutorials planned. I'm sort of calling this my summer of YouTube, even though I know we're already well into July. And I think I've only put out one like full length video, but I have lots of footage. So I'm just sort of working on editing all that and putting it together for you guys. And yeah, so I have a lot of fun plans. Really looking forward to sharing more of my design process with you guys, more of my sewing practice. Last week's video was a sewing vlog, actually, my first sewing vlog, which is actually going to be one of my finished objects in this video. And yeah, I just have a lot of fun stuff planned. So I'm really looking forward to that. I hope you are too. If you're watching this video and you're not subscribed, please do subscribe so you can be notified when those videos go out. But let's get into it. So this one might be a little bit of a long one. I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible. But I have like all of May and all of June to do. May and June were pretty busy for me. I was out of the country for 3 weeks in May and June. I was out of town actually at a fiber industry conference at the beginning of May, and then at the end of May through early June, I was in Europe for my brother's wedding. So there's been a lot going on, and then I came back to Boston right into a heat wave, and like immediately got sick just from traveling and the heat wave. It was pretty messy. So there's a lot to cover. I'm going to try to keep it as quick as possible. We may or may not be joined by Ghost. It's also pouring down rain today, so hopefully you can't hear that too much. I don't think you should be able to. These mics are pretty good, but it's also, the lighting is also not ideal. I have like all of the indoor lighting turned on, so not my favorite, but we'll manage, I think. So yeah, let's get into it. Finished objects. So my first finished object, as I said, is a sewing project. This is the little Bucky bag. It's a pattern by Layla Makes. It's a free pattern, actually. So you can go grab it right now if you want. And it's just a little miniature. Well, my one is actually more miniature than the pattern. I did mine at 87% the size. And I just did it in a little wax canvas. Just has little handles and then a little drawstring, and opens it up and there's a little project inside. That's actually one of my whips. I will talk about that later. But yeah, I knitted the drawstring. That's like knitted I-cord. And yeah, I used some wax canvas. I used a little batik fat quarter for the lining here. And it's perfect for the little pockets on the outside, are perfect for a cell phone. It's just a great little project bag. I brought this all around Europe with me, and it's perfect to just like hold on your wrist and you can just knit away at your project while walking around. It's also the perfect size to throw inside a bigger tote bag, which was really convenient for me. So if you're a sewist at all, I very highly recommend the little Bucky bag project. It's so fun. So yeah, if you want to hear more about that process, check out last week's video. That's my little Bucky. Okay. Now on to knitting projects. My first finished object is something I might explore in another video because I did film a lot of this process. This is a cardigan that I knit primarily on my machine. I have a KX 350 flatbed mid-gauge machine. So I knit all of the panels. So like I knit the front panels, the back panel, and then the sleeves are all knit in stockinette, as you can see. So I made all those stockinette panels on my machine, and then I hand knit the cuffs and the, what do you call that? Button band. It's not really a button band because there's no buttons on it, but yeah, the collar, the hems, whatever. I hand knit all of those in garter stitch. So as you can see, garter stitch. And it's a seamed, because the panels are all knit flat, it's all seamed with just mattress stitch. So on the inside, you can see there's those, they're still really like nice, clean seams, but there are seams in it. So I actually knit this, I knit this on my machine. I finished knitting it like literally the night before I left for Europe because I wanted to wear this to my brother's wedding. And I did. I finished it. I sewed it all together. I hand knit all the hems and everything right in time for my brother's wedding, basically. However, it's not my best work. I think I probably made this the front neck drop. I don't know if you can really see, but the front neck drop is actually quite deep. It was kind of meant to be a crew neck, and it ends up kind of just coming quite far down. And even with the garter stitch, it's just a little bit, I don't know, doesn't look sloppy, but it doesn't look quite as like neat and tidy as I'd like it to. So I think what I might actually do is I might unpick the shoulders and take out a few rows there and then rejoin them. The other thing I might do, I haven't quite decided yet. I think the garter stitch looks nice. Like it looks like a good gauge. But when I'm actually wearing the sweater, it kind of is like floppier than I'd want it to be. So I think I might actually rip out all the garter stitch and go down a needle size and reknit it all and see if that not only helps neaten it up in terms of gauge, but I hope it might also sort of cinch it up a little bit in terms of the front neck drop. What I don't want to do is cinch up the front like panels at all. So I will probably add more stitches there. We'll see. I think I just need to rework it a tiny little bit. It does fit and it looks nice and it worked for the purposes of the wedding. I just think I could do it a little bit better. This was just a prototype. I'm working on a pattern for this. And if I had done it further in advance, I would have done it a lot better, I'm sure, but I was kind of on a deadline. So, but I'm still really pleased with it. I think it just needs a little bit of tweaking. And this is I really love the yarn. This is Magpie Fibers, their Nest Sport in the color, I think it's Twilight Whisper. So it's this like beautiful dark purple, kind of plummy purple. It's a lovely yarn. I think it's 100% Corriedale, but it's super soft. It's really nice to wear. It's a sport weight, so it's kind of lightweight. It's good for like a nice summer cardigan. The wedding itself was outdoors in Genevikov in Germany, and day of the actual wedding ended up being a lot cooler than the week before. There was kind of like a little mini heat wave the week before. And then the day of the wedding was actually like remarkably cool and a little bit overcast. But it actually worked out perfectly because the week before I feel like had been too hot. So I, for one, was grateful for the cooler weather. But yeah, so that's a finished object, but not really, because I'm gonna keep tweaking it. So sort of semi-finished, finished for now, but will be a whip again shortly. Another sweater. This is my Just So Classic sweater. This is a pattern that I originally designed in 2020, and back when I was like a baby designer. And it's top-down raglan, pretty basic, but yeah, I designed it when I was still kind of a baby designer. Didn't really know what I was doing. I don't want to get into all the drama, but it was in a yarn that I no longer support the company with that yarn. So I wanted to reknit the sample. I wanted to rewrite the pattern. So I've been working on that for a little while. And I also, this is also the pattern that I use in my my first sweater class at Boston Fiber Company. We teach in my first sweater class, and we use this pattern because it is just a very basic top-down raglan. There's a couple of options for the collar, like you can do, so this is a fold-over collar, as you can probably see. You can also do just a flat collar, depending on your skill level or, you know, what you want in your sweater. But it's just a good like learning piece because it's got the short rows for the neck shaping. So you learn how to do short rows. You learn how to do raglan shaping. You learn how to separate for your sleeves, all of that. But it's also, it's like a worsted weight, but like it's kind of more of an Aran weight. The sample that I use at Boston Fiber Company is in the Loopy Mango Dream, which is listed as a worsted weight, but like it really knits up more like an Aran. But I wanted another sample because that sample lives at Boston Fiber Company. I wanted a sample for myself. So while I was in Germany, actually, this is kind of getting into a little bit of stashquisitions, but well, I'll show you. I went to Wool in Berlin, which is one of my favorite yarn shops in Berlin, and I picked up some Retrosaria Rosa Pomor Matisse, which is this guy here. And this is 100% wool from Portugal, and this is the color 04, but it's this lovely kind of reddish, brownish, orangish, heathered. There's like bits of purple in here. It's actually a really beautiful color. Like there's so much depth of color in here. And so I picked up 5 skeins of this, and I used 4 and like a tiny little bit. Like there's a tiny little bit taken out of this skein. So you can see it's like doesn't quite fill the ball band. So it's a really economical sweater because I think I paid, these were like 13 euro or something insane for the quality. Like this is really nice wool. I love wearing it. And I wore it to take photos in Boston in like 80-degree weather. And I thought I was gonna die. And it actually was fine. It was really nice. It wasn't itchy. It wasn't scratchy. It was lovely. So very, very highly recommend this yarn. It's a great sort of just like workhorse, cozy yarn. And I'm really pleased with this jumper. And so I actually knit, I bought the yarn while I was in Germany, and then I started knitting this just before I left Germany to go to Croatia with my mother. I spent a week in Croatia. And so I was working on this while I was in Croatia. And I think I finished it. I don't think I finished it while I was in Croatia. Now I can't remember. It wasn't really that long ago, but it feels like ages ago. But I finished it very quickly. It was like within like 2 or 3 weeks, which I think is pretty good, even for sort of an Aran weight jumper. So yeah, so that's my Just So Classic. And that pattern is available. That pattern is live on Ravelry now. It's on my website. You can grab it if you want. But yeah, that's another finished object that that I kind of feel bad, like that I can't show you my stash acquisitions because I already knit it all. But highly recommend that yarn. I personally highly recommend this pattern. I'm knitting another version now as well because we're running the class right now. We're like halfway through. And so I have another version on my needles that I actually did not bring for the whip section of this video because I showed it to you last video, I believe. The last video diary. It's the one in the West Yorkshire Spinners Croft DK held with the Dirty Water Dye Works shimmer lace, and which it's technically actually, I think the gauge is slightly smaller than what the pattern calls for, but I'm just using it to demonstrate the techniques for the class, so it doesn't really matter if the gauge is slightly off, because I can still show people how to do the short rows, how to separate for sleeves, all of that stuff. But I'm really excited about that one. That one's gonna be super cozy and like it's just like very fun visually. Maybe I'll put a picture here, or maybe I'll go get it for my whip section. We'll see. Because I don't think I made much progress since the last time I showed it. But maybe I have made more progress. Maybe I'll show it to you. Anyway, so that's another FO. So those are the 2 garments that I've finished since we last spoke. I believe. I need to be better about taking notes on these because I think that's all I finished, but I'm not 100% sure. I feel like I would remember if I finished a garment, but maybe not. I have ADHD. I might be totally crazy. But I do have some accessories that I finished. So I'm excited to show you those. This one I'm really excited about. I haven't woven in my ends yet, so just ignore that. But this is blocked. This is my Treasure Goddess scarf. It doesn't actually have a name yet, the actual pattern. So if you have name ideas, let me know. I'll need them soon because I will be publishing this shortly. This is in collaboration with Treasure Goddess. So this is her treasured. It's called Treasured DK Luxe, and it is 70% baby alpaca, 20% silk, 10% cashmere. So it's very luxurious, very, very soft. It's a DK weight, and it's got this like eyelet rib pattern. So it's ribbed, so it has, but it's like a 5x1 rib. So the back just has kind of like one little column of knit stitches. But it's just like an end-to-end triangle scarf. And it uses just 1 skein of yarn, and which to make a pretty decent sized scarf. Let me try it on for you. There's a couple different ways I like wearing it. Hope that doesn't hit the mic in an annoying way. But it's hard to style with a mic. But yeah, I like wearing it like this. There's also like, you could wear it if you wanted with the point at the back, and kind of do like, you could either do like a tie situation here, or if you had, I know people have like rings where they like do it like this or something, but yeah, there's a lot of ways to wear this. I'm very excited about this for like the holiday seasons because this is the colorway Ruby Dagger. It's this beautiful bright red, absolutely stunning, a little bit out of my comfort zone, not my normal color, but it's just too gorgeous, and I feel like it'd be like perfect for holiday outfits. So yeah, I'm very excited about this. This was, yeah, as I said, a collaboration with Treasure Goddess Yarn. Christine very kindly gifted me this yarn to design a pattern with, and yeah, the pattern will be coming out later this summer. It's gonna be out definitely before the end of August because Christine is gonna be at the Dallas Fiber Festival. What is it? DFW Fiber Fest, I believe, at the end of August. And there will be kits. So yeah, if you're in the Dallas area, go see Christine. And maybe get some of this yarn to make your own scarf. And let me know if you have pattern name suggestions because I got nothing so far. A lot of the times the pattern name will come to me before the pattern. So it's not often that I like have the pattern and don't have a name for it. So we'll see. I'll come up with something. But yes, so that I'm very, very excited about. I have to weave in the ends and then I have to take pictures. I haven't done that yet. But that will be coming soon, so keep an eye out there. And then my only other FOs, so I actually have 4 more, but they're all technically the same pattern, just different like variations, different versions of the same pattern. I'll show you what I mean. This is the Kiss triangle scarf. I'm calling it the Kiss scarf because Kiss, Kiss, stands for Keep It Simple, Silly, or Keep It Simple, Stupid. Whichever one is slightly less offensive, I guess. But it's because it's just a basic triangle shawl. Like it's very basic construction, but then there's some like fun little variations. So this is version 1. And as you can see, it's striped. So this is the Junction Fiber Mill Making Tracks Light and Roots Light. The dark brown there is that's the roots, and that's the color cedar. And then the orange stripe is pumpkin patch in the Making Tracks. So this is their like sort of sport weight yarn. It's pretty thin for a sport weight, but it's nice. It's a lovely, lovely, lovely colors. I love the gradient on the pumpkin patch, and I really like how it plays in the stripe. I think it looks really cool with the dark brown. But so this one it's stockinette stitch. It has an I-cord edge here, and then it has a 2x2 ribbed border all along the edge, and it just has, and then it kind of has a little, the spine is just also stockinette, but it kind of like matches the I-cord edging a little bit, like it looks similar. So yeah, so that's version 1, stockinette, stripes, I-cord edge, ribbed border, version 1. And all of these like versions, all of these little bits and pieces can very easily be mixed and matched so all of the versions are different. They're different yarns, so they're different gauges. But then the actual techniques, like the I-cord edge versus a garter edge, stripes versus no stripes, all of that can like very easily be mixed and matched between the different versions. So you could knit like a striped worsted weight, one with a garter edge. You can totally mix and match. That's kind of the beauty of the pattern. Version 2, I believe this one's version 2. I can't quite remember which order they're all in the pattern. I also haven't woven in my ends on these guys yet. They're all blocked. So they're all blocked. They're currently being tech edited. The Treasure Goddess one has just finished tech editing, so I'll be writing that one up shortly. But these ones are still in tech editing, so they're all blocked. They all have their final measurements. I just haven't woven in the ends yet. So if you see the little ends, no, you didn't. So this is version 2. This one is also stockinette, but it has a garter stitch edge. And then also at the bind off, it's just a garter stitch border. But it's all stockinette. It has that same stockinette stitch spine down the middle. And again, just basic triangle shawl. This one starts with a garter tab cast on here. The other one started with an I-cord tab cast on. actually, which is very slightly different. But yeah, this one's just plain stockinette. The thing that makes this one exciting is that this is actually a new base that I will be carrying in my shop. This is the Silk Merino Fluff is what I'm calling it. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but it's a brushed merino. So it's actually 70% silk and then 30% brushed merino. And so a lot of those like fluff yarns, like Surrey alpaca silk, mohair silk, all of those are often kind of the opposite. Like they'll be like roughly 70% mohair or alpaca and then 30% silk. This one's flipped. So it's 70% silk and then 30% brushed merino. So, and it's fingering weight. So it's slightly thicker than the sort of standard like lace weight fluff yarns. But it's so soft. It's so soft, you guys. It just, I can't wait for it to be cold and to actually get to wear this because it's just so luxurious. But I got it to sort of, for people who maybe have sensitivities to mohair or alpaca. I know that there's a lot of people like that out there. And I know a lot of patterns these days, including many of my own, call for like a fingering weight held with a lace weight sort of fluff. And there's not a lot of options for folks who don't wear alpaca or mohair. So this is a good option for that. The gauge is really interesting because it's knit. You can see it's pretty like airy, pretty like open, but it's knit on a US 8 or a 5mm. And it is a fingering weight. So you do still get that sort of fluff effect of like, oh, you can knit this on a much larger needle size and still get like a pretty sort of normal fabric. Because if you tried to knit a fingering weight on a 5mm and it wasn't like a brushed yarn, it would not look like this. So yeah. And then, so this one I've dyed with logwood. I actually knit this first, undyed, and then dyed it while it was already knit. So you can see maybe a little bit like how the pattern kind of worked out because I kettle dye all of my yarns. And so there is sort of like, I get like a sort of tonal effect on most of my yarns, just from like where the yarn is in the pot. It takes the dye differently, basically due to like the distribution of heat in the dye pot. So you can kind of see that a little bit here. Like you can see it's not like one solid color all the way around, which I actually kind of like. I think it looks cool. And it kind of shows you like the effect of kettle dyeing on a finished object rather than in the skein of yarn, which is kind of cool. But yes, I'll be carrying this base. It will be debuting actually at Woolworks in July. I will talk more about that later. But that's coming up in a week, I think, actually, as this episode is going out. So I will have the Silk Merino Fluff at Woolworks for the first time. And this pattern will be out by then as well. So you'll be able to get the yarn and the pattern. Okay, this is version 3, I believe. Again, haven't woven in the ends. And this one has lots of ends because it's a little stripy. So this one's just in my Highland DK. And I did this one. This one's kind of a smaller bandana size. So it's not really a full like scarf or shawl, but it's just a little bandana. And I really just wanted to showcase kind of like some of my naturally dyed yarns. So going through, I have stripes of, this one is lock dye. Oop, here comes Ghost. You want to come sit? She wants to be a part of the podcast. She heard me talking. Yeah, this one here is lock, that kind of dark pink. The next one is Kutch, which is kind of like a caramelly brown. This one here is cochineal, that pink. The yellow is yellow onion. And then the dark purple gray is logwood. And then the white is just undyed. So yeah, I just wanted to showcase some of my different natural dyes. I had loads of little mini skeins. I've used like mini skeins through various projects, and I just had like little tiny bits left, and I just wanted to use them up. And so I thought this would be the perfect opportunity, just a cute little bandana. And I also wanted to make, this is a garter stitch version. So I wanted to make a garter stitch sample because I do love the stockinette ones, but a lot of people find purling to be kind of annoying. So if you're knitting stockinette flat, if you're knitting, unless you're knitting like back and forth, like knitting right-handed and then knitting left-handed, if you're knitting stockinette flat, you're going to be purling a lot. And I know a lot of people don't like that. I don't mind purling, but it is a lot slower for me. And so I wanted a quick little win, little bandana, garter stitch, super quick and easy. This took me, I think, 2 days to do. Well, and it's not finished because I haven't woven the ends, but just 2 days, quick little bandana, with total scraps, like literally, like I think the lock one, it was just the tiniest little ball. I didn't even measure it because I don't even know if my scale would have like registered it. So yeah, tiny little scraps, garter stitch, stripes. So this is the right side. Let me get the ends out of the way a little bit. So that's what the stripes look like on the right side. I actually really like the way stripes look in garter stitch on the wrong side though. Like, they're not as clean, but it's kind of like its own sort of look, right? Like it's kind of just nice how they kind of blend together a little more. So I don't know, that's kind of fun. And then this one also, instead of make one right and make one left for the increases, it has just yarn overs. So it has these decorative yarn overs at the increases, both on the, oop, ghost is eating the tail. Both on the center spine and also along the edge. And the edge is also just garter stitch. The bind off is just garter stitch. So it's just very simple, all garter, little stripey, very fun. And we'll be coming back to the garter stitch version in my whip section. So stay tuned. But that's version 3. And then version 4, the final version, is this guy. So this one is obviously less of a triangle than the others and more of a crescent. So this one has increases, it has extra increases to kind of make a more crescent shape. It is stockinette, and it just has make one left and right increases, so no yarn overs. I've been sitting on my foot weird, my foot's fallen asleep, so I'm just readjusting. It's garter stitch, or stockinette stitch. Stockinette stitch, it is 2 yarns held double. So it's 1 strand of my fingering weight yarn, my merino fingering, and then 1 strand of my alpaca silk boucle. This one's dyed with Kutch. So yeah, it's 2 fingering weight yarns held double. And I've knit with the boucle before, actually. Oh, hey, stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Sorry. This is the boucle knit single on its own, and it's actually the same skein as this. It's the Kutch dye. So you can see kind of how the undyed kind of changes the color a tiny bit. But yeah, this is just the Kutch alpaca silk boucle on its own. That's my Bayaltina tank. This is a brand new mannequin. I just got her in the mail the other day. Her name is Mighty. I name all my mannequins. I know that might be weird, but I do. I got 2 new mannequins. They will also be debuting at Woolworks next week. So yeah, so this is garter stitch edge. I don't know if you can see, is it focusing? It's hard to tell if it's focusing. Here she comes. Hey, I have an idea. There you go. And then it has a picot edge, actually. So similar to, so the Bayaltina tank has a picot edge here. This has that same picot bind off, which just gives it just a little bit of fun. So yeah, so that one's a fun one. I really like the fabric. I almost kind of want to make a sweater out of it. It's not that, but yeah. So that's version 4. So that is the Kiss scarf. And that will be, by the time you see this, it probably won't be out, but it will be out probably right before Woolworks, which I might as well just tell you about Woolworks. So Woolworks is a new yarn festival in North Adams, Mass, in the Berkshires, and it is taking place July 18th. And it's going to be super fun. I'm so excited. It's a collaboration between Tammy from Wing and a Prayer Farms and Catherine from Brooklyn General. And Brooklyn General is also, they run a woolen affair as well. And Tammy from Wing and a Prayer does the New England Farm and Fiber Festival that happens in Boston in February. A woolen affair is the one it's the day before Rhinebeck. It's the day before the New York Sheep and Wool Festival in October in Rhinebeck, New York. So this is a fun sort of collaboration between the two and happening kind of also in between the two in the middle of the year. I am personally really excited to spend a weekend in the Berkshires. I've never been to the Berkshires, so I'm looking forward to that. North Adams looks like a really cute little town. I'm excited about that. The venue for the festival is the Greylock Works building, which is a beautiful historic building. I'm very excited to see what that's like. And it's just going to be a celebration of wool and natural fibers. And I think all of the fiber at the festival will be, it'll all be natural fibers. It'll all be non-superwash fibers, which is so fun. A lot of it is going to be local, like local farms, locally grown wool. Not all of my wool is, all of my wool is natural fiber. All of my yarn is natural fibers, and all of it is non-superwash. However, most of my bases do come from Peru. And so like all of these, my alpaca, my Highland wool, my merino, that mostly comes from Peru. But I will have one base, and I'll throw in a picture here because I don't have it with me. I just finished dyeing it, so it's actually still drying, but it's from Green Mountain Spinnery. I've never used one of their bases for dyeing before, but I got 40 skeins of their single ply worsted weight, and it is a beautiful, like rustic farm wool. Like it's really like woolly wool. It dyes beautifully. I had so much fun dyeing it, and I got some really beautiful colors. So I'm really excited to show you that. But so I will have a local yarn at that festival, but I only have 40 skeins of it, so it is super limited quantities. And I don't know if I'll be able to get it back in stock again because I got it kind of as a one-off thing. So limited edition Green Mountain Spinnery wool. They're based in Vermont. So so that's really exciting. I'm very excited for that. So that's all my FOs, I believe, for now. Ghost is purring away on my lap. I don't know if you can hear her. Let's get into my whips. Shall we, Ghost? So speaking of Vermont and speaking of Wing and a Prayer Farm, and also speaking of my Kiss scarves, I have cast on, if I can find it, I have cast on another garter stitch version of the Kiss. And as you can see, I've only just started. It's still teeny tiny. there's the little garter tab cast on, and then starting to expand out this way. So this one, instead of doing like a small bandana size one, this one's going to be massive, hopefully. I have 3 skeins here, and I don't have the tags with me, but I know what these are. So I have 3 skeins. I have, this is Wing and a Prayer Farms Peter Pan and Fam. This is Cormo. This is a fingering weight. And I have 2 skeins of this sort of like pinkish purple, slightly speckledy one. It's kind of hard to see when it's all spun up like this. But it's pretty like sort of not variegated, but like tonal. And then it also has pops of this like bright gold in it. And so I got 1 skein of this gold to kind of complement it. And this one is this one's like pretty much a solid, as you can see. Or it's hard to see in this small sample, but I am doing stripes of the pink and the gold. Although it's very hard to see in this lighting. I was debating doing just like a big pink chunk and then doing a gold chunk and then doing another pink chunk because, Ghost is trying to eat it. The way that triangle shawls work, so because this is 3 skeins of fingering weight, 3 100-gram skeins, I am planning to make this like a full-size shawl. I'm basically gonna just like use up all the yarn. Because of the way triangle shawls are knit, like they grow outward. So if I did like a pink chunk, this pink chunk would be really wide, and then a gold chunk would be slightly skinnier, and then the pink chunk at the end would be even skinnier because it'd be like longer. So I don't know, that might look cool too, because now that I look at it, I really don't know if you're getting like the full effect, just because there's not a lot of contrast, like tonally between the pink and the gold. I probably should have done that black and white photo thing. Whenever I do color work, I try to do like, I do the black and white photo of the colors next to each other so you can see if there's enough contrast. I didn't do that with this, and I suspect that if I did, I would find that there's not a lot of contrast. So I might do chunks instead of stripes because I think the stripes are gonna get lost. So yeah, I might rip back the last, it's like 2 rounds or something, or 2 rows. And just do chunks. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what I decide. But that's fun. And that's just, I like having like a big, easy whip to work on. Something that's very like mindless and doesn't take up too much brain power. Right now, it doesn't take up too much space. Of course, as it grows, it will take up more space. But I just like to have an easy project, especially like with Woolworks coming up. I will be, vending for several hours, and it's nice to just have an easy project to kind of pick up and knit for the lulls in vending. I don't want to have anything like too complicated to try to figure out. Like I don't want to be like looking at a pattern or anything while I'm vending. So I like just having something easy to keep my hands busy. Which brings us to my next whip, which is the opposite of that. This, in my little Christmas bag, is my Christmas in July project. And this one I'm going to try really hard to keep away from Ghost. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about this one because I am filming like a whole extra video about it. But let me just show you briefly. That's right. It's a top-down colorwork circular yoke Christmas jumper. This is the Hitta pattern by Sasky & Co. So yeah, not my pattern, which is crazy. I haven't done that in a very long time. I very rarely get the chance to knit other people's patterns, but I figured if I was just knitting a little Christmas jumper for myself, I would just use somebody else's pattern, especially because I'm not super, I've only knit like a couple of circular yokes before, so I just thought it'd be easier to let somebody else tell me what to do. I've already made a lot of modifications though, like to the collar. And I will probably make more modifications. I added in short row shaping for the neck because I just know I'll need neck shaping in order for this to fit correctly. So yeah, so that's that. It's in the East Tex Plutlopi in like a sort of beige color and then a bright red. Yeah, and I'm, oop, nope. I don't like ghost playing with that because it's unspun. And if she starts to chew on it, it'll break. And so I don't like it when she does that. So try to keep that away from ghost. I have it in my field bag that I made myself with some Rifle Paper Co. fabric. But yeah, I'm doing a whole video about that. That'll be out at the end of July because by the end of July, I will hopefully be done with that sweater. We'll see, fingers crossed. But yeah, you'll hear more about that shortly. I'm also doing mini like update videos on both YouTube Shorts and on Instagram, so you can follow along there as well on that whip. Okay, and then my last whip is another very exciting one, I think, is, oop, it's all tangled up. Okay. It's another sweater. This is, if you can see, I don't know. This is another version of my Fadista sweater, which was published in Lina's 52 Weeks of Sweaters. The original sample was I knit that in La Bien-Aimée yarn in that like super bright yellow. I made a video about it. I'll link it somewhere. It's a super bright yellow, very beautiful yarn, not really my color. So I decided to knit another sample. And for this sample, I wanted to use my own yarn because I actually back in February for the launch of the book, I had a little trunk show at Boston Fiber Company. And so I dyed up a bunch of my merino fingering base and then also my mohair silk lace and my Surrey silk lace because this pattern calls for a strand of fingering weight held with a strand of lace weight fluff. So I dyed up a bunch of that to have for the trunk show so that people could buy the book from Boston Fiber Company and then buy the yarn from me. And that was really fun. That was a huge success. Really enjoyed doing that. But I wanted to have, because the only sample I had was in La Bien-Aimée yarn. So I wanted to have a sample in my own yarn. I obviously did not finish it in time for that trunk show. But I had it as a whip. So you could at least see like the fabric that was starting to emerge. This is a strand of my merino fingering undyed. So just plain undyed, kind of cream color. And then this is my Surrey silk lace in a cochineal and logwood dye. So it's kind of this purple, the lighting in here is terrible. Sorry about that. But it's kind of this like pinky purple. And I found that these two together create this really lovely sort of marled looking fabric. I know a lot of people like to use like sort of the same color, and like my La Bien-Aimée one is, they're both yellow, but one is sort of more of like a golden yellow and the other is sort of more of like a super bright, like primary yellow. And so even that sample does end up looking kind of marled a little bit. But I found with my naturally dyed Surrey base, it kind of looks, if you knit it with the same merino fingering and the same Surrey lace like color, it kind of just like looks a little flat. And I didn't love that. So I just decided to use an undyed for the fingering weight. And yeah, and I really love it. I think it's turning out so nice. So I've done the body. Body is finished. Collar is finished. So I just have the sleeves to go. And then I will have this sample ready for Woolworks because, as I said, Woolworks is on July 18th. The pattern rights for the Fadista sweater, because it's currently only available in the Lina 52 Weeks of Sweaters book, but the pattern rights revert back to me on July 19th, so the day after Woolworks. So I will be able to sell just the individual PDF pattern on my own on July 19th. So I'm going to have this sample there. I will have the yarn there at Woolworks. And then I'll set up probably some sort of like pre-order type thing, sort of to just like encourage people to buy it like the next day. Or I might, I don't know, I might like, I'm not quite sure how it'll work yet. I still have to talk to Lina about it, but I might be able to do like a pre-order. So you like buy the pattern, but you don't get the pattern until the next day, something like that. But yeah, because they're only one day apart, I thought I should probably try to have a sample of that sweater, sort of the day before it's not released, but it's re-release, it's individual release. So yeah, very excited about that. And yeah, so hopefully that'll be done for me. So I'm filming this, Woolworks is in like a week and a half-ish, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna try to get those sleeves done. But honestly, even if I only get one sleeve done, I think that's okay. Because the point for that pattern, for this, is to really show off the yarn. Because I have the other sample that shows off like the pattern. So I think as long as I get some of this done, I'm gonna try to get both sleeves done, but we'll see. I might only get one done. And if I only get one done, I'm perfectly okay with that because it'll still show off the yarn, I think. Okay, that's my whips. Now let's do stashquisitions. This will be a quick one. I already showed you the Matisse for my, there goes the ball band. I already showed you the Matisse for my Just So Classic. So I got that at Wool in Berlin. The other yarn that I got at Wool in Berlin is this Sandisgarn Tin Silk Mohair, which is, of course, their mohair silk lace weight. This one actually has more wool in it though. So this is 57 mohair, 28 silk, 15% wool. And it's a pretty standard 25 grams is 212 meters. So pretty standard lace weight. But this one's fun because it is kind of tweedy. So it's a gray. Here, this one shows it a little better. This one didn't have a ball band. It's a very pale gray, and then it has like brown and black sort of tweedy bits in it. So it's very, very fun. Kind of just a slightly more interesting than your average mohair. And I am planning to hold this double with a an undyed unspun from the Zeelinger Wool Company, which is sadly out of business, so you can no longer get it. But they had a really nice pencil roving that I bought. I thought I bought a sweater's quantity. I think I might have accidentally bought like three sweater quantities because with unspun, it's just really hard to sort of get like a good idea of the yardage. So I always end up overbuying, which feels kind of crazy because I spend so little money. Like I feel like I buy so little of it and it's so inexpensive. And then I have like enough for like 2 or 3 sweaters. So it's I don't know. I love unspun, but it's just kind of, you can never really predict, I feel like, how much you're going to need. And I've knit 3 sweaters out of unspun, and I still haven't really figured out how to figure out the yardage. But I definitely have enough of the Zeelinger pencil roving to do another sweater. So I got 6 balls of these tin silk mohair, and I'm gonna hold it with that unspun. And I'm not 100% sure what I'm gonna do. I initially thought that I was gonna do just a different version of my Just So Classic, but then I thought about maybe doing something with like cables. I don't know, because I think it could be fun to do kind of like a tweedy mohair cabled pullover. We'll see. I'll have fun designing something with that though. So that was from Wool in Berlin. Again, one of my favorite yarn shops in Berlin. And then the last thing, all of my acquisitions are in this fun little bag that I got from, this was Worldwide Stitch in Public Day, which with Boston Fiber Company, Stitch House, Dorchester, and Tight Knit Roslindale. And we went to Fenway Park and watched a Red Sox game and knit in public. And so we got these tote bags that are like Fenway security compliant to carry our projects in. So that's what all my acquisitions are in right now. So yeah, that was a really fun time. But the last thing I bought while I was in Europe is this Lucas mohair. It's their Celestial. It's got bits on it. I'm not sure if you can see in the camera, but it's like a little bit sparkly. So this is kind of just like a creamy white, and then it has sort of like gold sort of glitter throughout. It is, okay, so it is 78% kid mohair, 14% silk, and then 4% polyester, metallicized polyester. That doesn't add up to 100. 78 plus 14 plus 4. That's not 100. There might be a typo here. Well, anyway, yeah, so normally I only work with like 100% natural fibers. I normally do not work with polyester. However, it's only 4%. And it's just the like sparkle, the little sparkle bits is the polyester. So in terms of like feeling it as I'm wearing it, I think I won't even notice that it's polyester because it's such a small percentage. And I think it's okay to use a tiny bit of polyester if just for a little bit of sparkle. And so I got 5 skeins of this to make like a little, I'm thinking it'll be cute for like a little holiday sweater, little sparkly sweater. And I might hold it with something, a fingering weight. But I also might not. I might just knit it on its own. We'll see. We'll see what we come up with. But I just thought that'd be fun for sort of like holiday parties, have a little sparkle going on. And I got this from the Wool Hound in Oxford, in the Oxford Covered Market, in England when I was visiting my bestie who lives near there. We just stopped in and I was like, gotta get some yarn, and this was just calling to me. So yeah, I'm excited to do something for that. Hopefully I'll be able to do something with it this year, but knowing me, I will get way too busy as soon as Q4 hits, and I will not actually knit anything for the holidays. That is why I am knitting my Christmas jumper right now in July. Christmas in July, I will have a Christmas jumper ready to go for Christmas, and I won't have to worry about actually knitting it during the crazy holiday season. So yeah, so that's what we did for May and June. It's been a crazy couple of months, but it's been a really good and fulfilling couple of months as well. So I'm really excited about everything I'm working on. I am getting into a much better like work schedule. I've been focusing a lot on YouTube, both here on this channel and on my Hot Cakes podcast channel. I do a podcast with Sarah from Boston Fiber Company. We chat about our hot takes in the fiber industry. So if you're interested in that, check it out. But yeah, so this has been a super long video. Sorry about that. I do try to keep these a little bit shorter, but I can definitely tell we've been going too long because my throat hurts. I don't normally talk this much in my daily life. So I am going to sign off. I have all the links to everything you need below, where you can find me, where you can find all the things I've talked about. Sorry, Ghost. If you want more Ghost, you can follow her at ghost.the.torby on Instagram. We don't post much there, but she has a presence. And yeah, I will see you again for another sort of monthly video diary wrap up at the beginning of August, and we'll go over everything that I did in July. Hopefully I'll have a Christmas sweater to show you. But I will also be hopefully coming in weekly. I know that's ambitious. I know I always say I'm going to do things more often, but this, I really do have a actual proper plan to put out videos weekly. We'll see if I actually end up sticking to it. It can be tricky when you're self-employed and you have ADHD and a bunch of chronic illnesses. And also summer is hard because I just kind of hate summer and I'm not motivated. But I do have a plan to be here weekly. So please do subscribe if you want to see more of me, see what I'm working on. I have plans for sewing projects. I have plans for machine knitting projects, as well as, of course, my bread and butter, my hand knitting patterns. So yeah, so all the links are below. Please like, subscribe, all of that nonsense. Please leave a comment below. Tell me what you're working on. Tell me what you want to see on this channel. And I may or may not listen to you depending on if it fits into my plan or not. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Ghost says from the bottom of her little kitty heart, thank you so much. Would you like to purr into the mic? She's a little freaked out. I think it's dinner time. So I'm gonna go give Ghost dinner. I will sign off. I will let you go. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I will see you next time. Okay, bye.